Now he's talking about the rockets, the trajectory of the rockets. So he like conflated multiple topics together about the missile shield, the Aegis ashore, and Deveselu. He just claimed that that is against Iran and Russia. Then he conflated something about the trajectory of the rockets coming from Russia. I guess he was referring, I don't know. From what I understood, he was implying the ballistic missiles, the intercontinental ballistic missiles coming from the general direction of Russia that fly over Greenland. Then he conflated into it the topic of the new shield that the Trump administration is talking about. What is referenced in the new shield that the Trump administration is talking about. What is referenced in the media is that Arnold Schwarzenegger is allowed on Romanian television. So he conflated Emil Hurezeanu. He conflated something about what is in the media referenced as the Golden Dome. It's advertising, so I'm gonna just turn it off a little bit, the sound. So he referenced the trajectory of the intercontinental ballistic missiles coming from Russia over Greenland, and conflated that with the existing shield and the Golden Dome. So that's like, this is standard practice from, like, I haven't been here for almost 13 years, and I've returned in Romania at the end of April 2025, and I had a lot of time off. Unfortunately, I didn't have financing for starting up my business startup, and it's harder than towards like software development and stuff. Like I struggle with the fact that I have ideas and I've worked on a number of apps with ChatGPT, but it's going to take a lot more effort and more time for me to become a software developer and then bring that back into my business by myself without any financing, unfortunately. So that gives me a lot of time on my hands. So coming back to the live streamer, that I'm trying to have a conversation, but I don't see anyone joining into the conversation, so I'm just talking by myself. I see a couple of people here, but no comments. So he was mixing together, conflating multiple stories, multiple narratives. One being about the famous Aegis ashore, the ballistic missiles showed in Romania, and the Golden Dome project, and the ballistic missiles going over Greenland. So he was claiming that, he even said in Romanian that the American administration is right about that. It's not very clear to me what I think he just tried to salvage his own narrative, like to save his face, because he was basically talking negatively or pretty much against the position of the American administration. So he just tried to like save face and bring in this perspective right at the end. So after he wasted a lot of time during the rest of the conversation, he brought in this perspective, pointing out that there is some interest in what is known in publicly about the Trump-Vance administration's position, and generally regarding America's interest in defending itself against threats from like the Soviet Union or Russia and its ballistic missiles. That's what I believe. So that he referenced that to save the conversation, basically, to save face, to save himself and listeners. That's what I believe. So that he referenced that to save the conversation, basically, to save face, to save himself and the fact that he wasted a lot of time. What is not being mentioned, for example, in Romania is that this new shield, the Golden Dome, pretty much has nothing to do with us. I don't know much about it. I just saw the pictures on CNN with the big golden dome across America. So it sounds to me intuitively like that it's a local shield. It's not the global shield that is the. It sounds to me intuitively like that it's a local shield. It's not the global shield that is the ages ashore, but a local shield centered, of course, around America and with multiple regional or local, I don't know, systems. Um, and supposedly that's better because they reference the Israeli shield, which we saw how that worked when Iranian missiles managed to kill or wound a bunch of people. Because the Iranians, and they're not the only ones, they have hypersonic missiles and hypersonic warheads. So one of those actually went through the Iron Dome in Israel back in the summer, unfortunately. So if the Golden Dome is going to be that good, well, obviously it's not good. So hopefully the Golden Dome, what is referenced as this new shield in the future or that is being built, hopefully it's going to be better than the Israeli shield. That's one aspect. Another aspect is that it's local. Like in some regards, reflecting the Israeli shield is about them and for them and around them and right there in Israel and not in, I don't know, Romania. Romania is not that far from Israel actually, but I don't think they have any components over here. So the Israeli shield, the Iron Dome, works from Israel around it. So that would be like the similarity, like from what I understand with the Golden Dome, and that it would be a new shield, better than the Aegis Ashore, or with a new purpose, and it would be centered locally around the United States. So that's basically the context that was brought in by this person, Emil Hurezeanu, into his conversation. And it was brought in to like indicate his support for the interest of the United States. But again, like my belief is that he wasted a lot of time. The conversation was mostly negative against the United States, and just mentioning that at the end is really not going to do anything good. It's good that he did because I at least have something to be talking about. They're now bringing up on television that the EU is preparing tariffs of 93 billion euros in retaliation for Trump's threat in Greenland. That was just now. So there's a narrative on Romanian's threat in Greenland. That was just now. So there's a narrative on Romanian television that presents as a fact that Trump brought a threat against Greenland, which is false. It does not represent the American interest, nor does it represent the position of the United States administration, the current administration of the United States. So that's also negative from my point of view. And so they're pressing this narrative where Europe is at odds with the United States administration's view, and they are also conflating various narratives about Trump, and they present the United States administration's position as being Trump's position, which is also false or misleading or deceptive and negative. I find that negative. Okay, it seems like they're back live and they're mentioning some protests in Greenland.
nu i-a împiedicat nimeni, nu împiedică nimeni să-și facă câte baze vor.
He just said, nu împiedică nimeni să-și facă câte baze vor. Nobody stops them, America, to build as many military bases as they want.
De a extinde teritoriul.
5,000 deaths in Iran.
Teritoriul ai propriu zis, ce faci cu el și în interiorul celui pe care îl ai.
They're also showing that Iran was abandoned by Trump, which is also false. And he just, now they're talking about the relationship between Trump and Putin, but the problem is that just before that, this, and it's on record, can be translated. I'm going to save this and post it. They just said that, like Emil Hurezeanu just stated, that there's an analogy to be made between the Trump-Vance administration, the American administration's interest in Greenland, to the land grab, to the disputed annexation of land in Ukraine by Russia, which I find totally false. That is absolutely false, is misleading, is grossly and sinister. It's a sinister misinterpretation or exaggeration or misrepresentation of the state of facts. So, the United States has never, they have treaties, of course, with Denmark and Greenland, but they never signed a treaty to guarantee the territorial integrity of Greenland. There's multiple times in history where the United States was interested in acquiring Greenland as a purchase. So the the United States, has attempted to purchase the territory of Greenland several times previously in the past. It's a known fact. It's nothing new about that. Also, the United States has purchased territory from Denmark before, what is called the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is United States territory. They have a non-voting member in the U.S. Congress, and they are sovereign territory of the United States, which was purchased from Greenland. So there is established precedent in the relationship between, or the attitude that the United States has towards Greenland, and the relationships between the United States and Denmark regarding territorial purchase or acquisition or territory transfer. So United States and Denmark regarding territorial purchase or acquisition or territory transfer. So that being said, we have to remember in Budapest, a legal treaty level legal act that was supposed to be demanding or enforcing that the United States, the United Kingdom, and Russia, all three guarantee the sovereignty of the territory of Ukraine in exchange for for it giving back the nuclear weapons that it CCCP from the Soviet Union in the 90s, giving it back to the newly formed state of Russia. So when the CCCP, when the Soviet Union split, they had tens of thousands of nuclear warheads at the peak and during the Cold War, and an unknown number, but estimated in the thousands, that was physically present in what is now the territory of Russia and what is now physically the territory of Ukraine. So, because that's what the territorial dispute is about, partially. So there were nuclear weapons present in what is now the territory of Ukraine. And then Ukraine decided, when it gained its sovereignty and independence from the CCCP, from the Soviet Union, decided to give those to the newly formed state of Russia. And in exchange, and this was facilitated by the United Kingdom and the United States. And in exchange, the United Kingdom, the United States, and the state of Russia all signed a document saying that they have no territorial interest, no territorial claim in Ukraine. Actually, I wasn't there. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an international strategist or anything. And I don't know if the wording is like this, like I presented in the memorandum from Budapest. Like I don't know if it says that the US, the UK, and Russia have no interest in that territory. It says the opposite, and it seems to imply that. So it says that the UK, the US, and Russia were supposed to guarantee to be the guarantors of the sovereign independence of the territory of Ukraine, and that was signed off in the 90s. Whether that document leaves open this avenue where it's not very clear whether any of them haven't still maintained some sort of interest into their territory, well, that was either, I don't know, maybe it was made intentionally, or maybe it was in some sort of interest into their territory, or that was either, I don't know, maybe it was made intentionally, or maybe it was a slip, like maybe nobody realized it, or maybe the Ukrainians never realized that it could potentially mean that there's still an interest in their territory. But that is the state of facts. The document says that they have to guarantee their territorial integrity. We don't know for sure whether or not there was some claim of maintained interest into their territory, but that is just so different. Is so different from what the relationship between the United States and Denmark and Greenland is, and has been for such a long time. Towards Greenland and towards Denmark, the United States traditionally had the attitude that they wanted that territory. That's established. Nobody ever challenged that. And that is being left aside in these conversations, which I think it's more fraud, like it's fraudulent, it's deceptive. Like when you try to be like a public person, or you present this view in public, you are at least like negligent or superficial maybe, or just mediocre if you don't reflect what the state of facts are, what the facts are based on history. So we know from history that the United States has tried to acquire the territory of Greenland multiple times in the past, and it also had commercial relationships with Denmark in the past, from which it purchased territory. So the United States has purchased Alaska from Russia. The 13 colonies have purchased the western side of the United States from France historically. That's also in history. And the United States has purchased the US Virgin Islands from Denmark. So that is the situation that is totally different from the situation in Ukraine. Whereas the Ukrainians thought, or it was established in the treaty, that no one has a territorial claim on any part of Ukraine in the 90s. With Greenland and Denmark, it's known for decades at least, if not hundreds of years, that there was an interest in it, and that Denmark has sold territory to the United States before. So that is the context. So to say now, or to imply on Romanian television that there is some sort of similarity, and to peddle a narrative of conflict, or of misalignment of interest between the United States and Europe or Romania, just because you think or you argue that there is a similarity between in Europe or Romania, just because you think or you argue that there is a similarity between what Russia did and what the United States did, is at least suspicious in this as deceptive, because these are the facts. So what Emil Hurezeanu does, and what I've seen similar stuff on others, is basically to perpetuate a misunderstanding at the very least, or to be an ally that you wouldn't want. Like if Romania did this to me, I wouldn't want Romania as an ally. Plain and simple. It's better to have clear, plain and simple. It's better to have clear enemies than fake friends in life in general and as a country. So I think it's wrong. What they showed and what they perpetuate on television is wrong. So hopefully, I don't know, something will change. I don't know if this video will be allowed to be publicly viewed. I don't know if my videos are being censored or not. I don't know if my audience curfewed or not. But what I've stated, what I mentioned is 100% fact, and I'm doing so because I believe it's in the best interest of me and also of my birth country, Romania, to be a good ally to the United States. And it would be better for the Romanian public and the American public, or anyone watching my account, to know that the situation is not the one that's being presented on the Romanian television. So yeah, is not the one that's being presented on the Romanian television. So yeah, I'll close this live stream here. I don't see any comments right now, but I'll happily answer any questions or take any comments if they occur at a later time.